Day 2, same hand, different techniques. So we're going to start by just going over the nail a little bit. From my previous video you'll see I've removed the gel, so I've kind of done the groundwork. We just want to make sure that the nails are now completely dust free, and prepare your nail bed exactly the same way as I showed you in the first few videos. Making sure to ask the client about shape and length. It's easy to presume that they want to keep them long, but a lot of my clients have me cut them back every time to allow for the growth process to happen again. So it's always best to make sure. So once you're happy that the nail beds are clean and they've been buffed over, we can go in with our dust brush, make sure that they're dust free. So on this first finger, again, I'm going to go in with my nail prep on top of the prep nail. Just enough to cover the fingernail and let that air dry. It'll evaporate pretty quickly. And then in with our bonder. Again, take it as far as the cuticle and let it air dry for about 30 seconds. Back in with our Blue Sky base coat. And we are going to set that for 30 seconds. Okay, so that once that's been set, we can go ahead with our design. On this finger today, I'm going to show you the ever popular marble. You can do marble in any colour. One of my most popular colours is black base coat with white marble, and the opposite. So today I'm going to show you a white base coat with a black marble running through it. So again, I'm going to use the best coverage white from Blue Sky, and we'll start by preparing our base layer using a small amount of polish on the brush just to create this first guide layer. So as we talked about yesterday, I'm going to use the same brush technique. So we're going to push it straight up to the cuticle, and then with a sweeping motion come around each side and right up to the top of the nail. White can be quite a tricky colour. It looks super messy if you don't get this line absolutely perfect, so take your time and remove any polish from the brush if you feel like your brush is overloaded, because we don't want to flood the cuticle. And once you're happy with your base coat, you can pop it under the lamp for 60 seconds, 30 seconds. Okay, that's our first layer cured for 30 seconds. We're just going to go in and repeat the process. Same as all the other colours, I use 4 coats of the best coverage white. Use the same technique, take your time to get it really, really neat and tidy. We don't want it to look like Tipp-Ex fingers back in the day. Once you're happy with that layer, we pop it in for 30 seconds. Okay, and now for layer number 3, exactly the same technique. Right up to the cuticle and sweep it around the edges. And on coat 3, this is when I like to wrap the edge. So just a tiny little bit of white on the end of the brush, just to make sure it covers over the top. So that's number 3, pop it in for 30. There we are, going in for round 4. Take your time. One of the most important things about any gel mani, whether you're doing a plain one or one with a design, is to make sure that this foundation layer is pretty damn near perfect. And then wrap your edge on the 4th layer, removing any that you might get over the top. And there's our white nail prepared. We'll pop it in for 30. There we are. Here's your prepared nail to start doing your marble effect. So again, I'm going to use my dapping dish just to pop a little bit of the black polish on. We're going back in with Blackpool by Blue Sky. So just going to pop a little bit on the side of the dapping dish. And then to start this effect, I always go back in with a little bit of the base coat, similar to the technique that I showed you yesterday when it came to creating the watercolour effect. So we'll pop on one layer of base coat, and we're not going to cure this layer. Instead, we're just going to leave it wet. And then with the trusty dotting tool, with the smallest, sharpest edge that you get in a set of dotting tools, we're going to pop a tiny little bit of black on, tiny little bit, and then this is when the tricky bit begins. So I usually always try and go in a Y pattern to begin with. So we want to start either at the cuticle edge or the free edge, and we're just going to really, really lightly drag it through and maybe release the pressure a little bit as you go further along the line, so it starts off super thick and gets really, really fine. And we're just going to do that a couple of times so we can start from this line and create a bit of a Y shape. And then we're going to do the same, maybe coming up from the side to meet the bottom edge. And you'll see, I hope you can see really well, that the black polish starts to bleed into the base coat, which creates a really lovely marble effect. And we're going to do another Y shape here. We're going to connect it up to that line I've just drawn and just let that settle in. Now my nails aren't particularly long, so we don't need to do very many of these patterns to make it look really effective. If you feel like you want another couple of marble veins in towards the bottom, you can do that. I think one of the knacks to this is knowing when to stop. Now I think I've covered enough of my nail to be happy with that. And at this point it's really important to get it under the lamp, because otherwise it'll just start spreading and you'll lose those sharp lines. So we're going to pop that in for 30. Okay, and there's our marble nail. I know a lot of you would probably think that it's trickier than this, and this will take some practice. And if you feel more comfortable, you can just do one of your lines and set it, and then go back and repeat the process with the base coat and the black on top. But once you've done one full set of these, you'll feel pretty confident with it. Now I'm going to use a Blue Sky velvet top coat, which gives the same effect as matte. Now the matte top coats are lovely, but they still have like a tiny little bit of a shine to it, but I want mine to be super matte, so I'm using velvet. So we're just going to put just one layer of velvet on. I would at this point advise you client that sometimes the velvet and the matte top coats don't have the same sort of longevity, because they tend to pick up dirt a little easier, but they will still confidently get 2 to 3 weeks out of their gels without any cracking or lifting. But when you've been used to having the shiny top coat and it lasting forever, this can feel like it's a little bit more vulnerable. So once we've covered all the nail with the velvet, we're going to go ahead and set that under the lamp. This one just takes 30 seconds too. Okay, that's our first layer of matte. I'm just going to pop one more on. Another layer of the velvet. Making sure I'm cleaning up after myself. There we are, I'm going to pop that under for 30. Okay, so that's now been under for the 30 seconds. And we're going to remove the tacky layer on the matte exactly the same way as we would with the shiny top coat. Just a little bit of acetone free, and just give the nail a good wipe over. And I hope the camera picks that up. Just dry that off. And it just has this lovely natural marble effect. Now I've gone in pretty subtle with this one, but as I say, you can build it up as much as you like, and this has such a lovely smooth texture. I love a bit of a matte top coat. So that's a super easy way to create a marble effect. Thanks guys.